In today's video, I am going to teach you how to make a split axis in a chart in Excel. This is a useful technique when your data has very different ranges, and you want the chart to show both small and large values more clearly. If you have ever looked at a chart and felt that the smaller bars were too flat or too hard to read, a split axis can help fix that by allowing the vertical scale to jump. First, click on your existing chart to select it. Take a moment to make sure the chart area is highlighted, or that you see selection handles around the chart, depending on your version of Excel. This matters because the next menu options you choose are based on the chart that is currently selected. If your cursor is not focused on the chart, Excel may not show the formatting options you need. Once the chart is selected, right-click the vertical axis numbers. In most charts, those numbers appear along the left side for a vertical axis. You want to specifically right-click the numeric labels, not the chart title or the chart background. When you right-click the correct area, Excel will open a context menu with options related to the axis. If the menu looks different than expected, undo and try right-clicking directly on the axis labels again. Now, from that menu, select Format Axis. This is the key step that opens the Axis Formatting panel. As soon as you click Format Axis, you should see a task pane appear on the side of your Excel window. The formatting options will let you control how the vertical axis is displayed. This step is important because the split axis feature depends on changing the axis settings rather than adjusting the data itself. At this point, you can edit the axis settings. Look in the Format Axis panel for options that control the axis scale. In many cases, there is a section for axis options where you can adjust things like minimum and maximum values, as well as whether the axis uses a logarithmic scale or breaks. The specific controls may vary slightly depending on your chart type and Excel version, but the goal is the same. You want to create a break or split in the vertical scale so the chart can display separated ranges. While you are in the Axis Formatting panel, focus on the scale options. You will typically need to adjust the minimum and maximum values for the axis or enable a break between ranges. If you see controls related to a vertical axis break, that is the feature you want to use to create the split. If you only see standard scale controls, you may need to use the option that changes the axis to allow a break or split. The general idea is to define a lower range and an upper range, so Excel will not force the entire dataset to fit into one continuous vertical scale. As you edit, pay attention to the chart preview. Excel updates the chart as you change these settings, so you can confirm that the smaller values become more visible and that the larger values still show clearly. If the chart does not change as expected, double-check that you are formatting the correct axis. Sometimes charts can have multiple axes, especially with combination charts, and formatting the wrong one will not produce the split effect you are aiming for. When you are satisfied with how the axis looks, review the axis labels to ensure they match the intended scale. Also, make sure the visual split makes sense for your data. The purpose is to improve readability, not to distort the interpretation. Once everything looks correct, you can stop here and keep the chart selected. That is all there is to it. That covers everything you need to know.